What's going on, guys? This is Sean, or should I say gals. This is Sean Siang. I'm back again with another tutorial. As you can tell by the lower third, it says women redHood. Now Jesse, he's my new editor, and he doesn't know proper terminology for cosplay, and we should let him know that it's actually redHood gender bend, not women redHood. That just sounds funny. I don't know. Y'all let him know what y'all think in the comment section below. As you can already tell, I've got my female torso mannequin, half mannequin thingy. Well, it's not really a mannequin, it's more for display, and I have like tons of these. But we should give her a name, and we should name her Mannequin. Yeah, I already have a Mannequin, so we should name her let's call her something different. Let's call her Miss Mannequin. Yeah, that's unique enough. So I've already got my high-tech template maker, and I have it all wrapped up in high-tech duct tape. And now I'm drawing a straight line on the curvy surface, which is really difficult, but I got this flexible ruler that you can buy for $9 for one. You get all these sheets of EVA foam for free. Yeah, depends on how you look at it, really. Now the purpose of this straight line is because I only need one half of the torso to make a full front end, but I decided, why not go ahead and knock out two birds with one stone. Two birds, you get it? Never mind. Well, anywho, I'm gonna make a redHood and a Nightwing gender bend, and why not just go ahead and do it right now, since I have the whole Miss Mannequin wrapped up. You know, instead of just wrapping up one side, I might as well go ahead and wrap up both sides, and yeah, knock out two birds with one stone. Puns, I got them. So sometimes whenever I start a project, I have this idea in my mind, and somehow it starts to drift and becomes another project. Well, this is kind of an example of what happens when that happens to me. I end up with two different projects. But in this video, we're just going to focus on redHood, and we're going to save Nightwing for another video. So far, I'm starting to dig the design, and I'm going ahead and cut it all out. And the thing is with Miss Mannequin, she is very small. She's like extra small. And my wife is a medium, more small, leaning towards medium. But well, I scanned the patterns out, and then I traced it on Illustrator, and then I increased it by 5%. And when I was done with that, I went and sent it to my plotter, and it drew it all out for me. It really helps having one of these plotters, because when you print them on regular size paper, then you have to piece the patterns together. I'm not saying go out and buy yourself a plotter unless you plan on using it a lot. They're pretty expensive, so if you know a guy who does vinyl graphics, hit him up when you get templates from me, because it comes in very handy. Now I've already got all my patterns cut out, and I'm tracing them onto 6mm EVA foam, and I'm actually going to use 6mm for the entire project. And if you're wondering where I get 6mm foam this big, hit up TNT Cosplay Supply. They're really good people over there, and they will take care of you. Really good friends of mine. So yeah, go check them out. It's tntcosplaysupply.com, and tell them Sean sent you. As you can see here, I got some of my patterns cut out. This is my upper breast area. I'm cutting the part where they join together in the center, and then a slight outward angle. And this when they join each other, they're gonna bevel just like that. And when I say slight angle cuts, I don't mean a hard 45-degree cuts, because when you take two 45s and join them together, you're gonna have yourself a 90-degree corner. And that's not what we were looking for, so yeah. As for the abdominal area, I went and cut them all into small little pieces. This way I can bevel the edges and then do some heat formation to the abdominals to give it a little texture. And before I go and cut them all down to small little pieces, I went ahead and marked one of the sides, so that way I don't get all the pieces confused when I glue them all together. Because sometimes when I start cutting these little pieces out, I'm looking at a pile of never-ending pieces, and it becomes a headache. But yeah, I've already taking one side to the belt sander and I sanded the corners, making sure that I don't sand all the way down because again I don't want a 45-degree angle. I just want to bevel the edge just a little bit and leave myself a little bit of meat there so I can glue them back together. Once I got all the edges rounded down just a little bit, I decided to throw some heat on there so I can do some heat formation. Now I'm using this bearing. You could use a marble as long as it's round and it looks like that, and then you can just roll your pieces over it and you'll have this nice little heat formed abdominal piece. Here's a side-by-side comparison on the heat formed and not heat formed. Now you don't actually have to cut all these pieces together. If you go and check out my redHood V2 armor, I didn't cut them into pieces, but I did do some undercuts and I used the same method, but instead of small pieces I'm working with one larger piece. Now that I have all my pieces heat formed, it's time to apply glue on all of them, and what I'll do is I'll glue all of my pieces at one time, and by the time I get to the last piece, the first piece I apply glue to is dry and ready to make contact. It helps make a better workflow. Carefully aligning all my pieces, making sure that all of them are leveled even, not all crooked or jaggedy, because come on now, it's cosplay, bro. You gotta get it right, you know what I'm saying? Now I've had people ask me how comfortable is it to wear and how is the mobility on it, and I'm not gonna lie, I mean I tried it on maybe once, twice. There's nothing wrong with wearing your wife's armor, and you know that is if you made it, you know, it's okay. But like if somebody else made it and I wore it, then that would just be wrong, you know. And if you're thinking about making your wife a foam armor, then I say go for it. I mean, she'll love it. I mean, my wife loves it. I mean, she was so excited that I finally got to make her foam armor. I'm probably gonna need a new mic after that, but yeah, you're gonna make your girlfriend one. Unless you're married, then your wife is not gonna like that very much. Just saying. Alrighty, now let's move along to the breast piece. Now I did cut the lower breast piece in an angle cut. If you want a more rounder look, then you can cut it in a straight cut. If you cut it in an angle cut, you're gonna get this bevel looking curvature along the breast line. It all depends on what you want to do. I'm gonna end up heat forming this anyways, so it might round off just a little bit and leave a little bit of bevelness to it. And as for the upper chest piece, I cut the lower line in a slight outward angle. This will help form the chest to breast area. I don't really know the correct terminology for that, but you kind of get the idea. And now that I got both pieces put together, it's time to join them together. And I'm gonna carefully align the pieces together since I can't really use a surface of a table to make sure all my pieces are lined up, leveled, whatever. But yeah, you want to make sure your gaps are all closed up and everything is in there nice and tight and clean. I went and heat formed it, and you can tell it did bring out a little curvature, but it still has some of that bevelness to that breast line. And now I'm gonna join the two larger pieces together, and this will make it a little difficult to wear, but I went ahead and did it anyways because it looked cool. Now what I'm doing right here is I'm applying some contact cement to all these seams because there's going to be some flexing and twisting and moving around because my wife is going to do some acrobatic stunt stuff, and I don't want it falling apart on her, so I'm going to apply some contact cement here, and then once it all dries to a tack, I'm going to slap some gaffer tape to it. And if you don't know what gaff tape is, I'll show you here in a little bit. Now I'm going to carefully align the chest piece or breast piece to the abdominal piece, and making sure all my pieces join up nice and neatly. And so far so groovy, and I'm digging what I'm cooking. I hope you're digging it too. Right here I'm making sure all my gaps are closed up and everything is nice and on there. Yeah. And here's a shot of my redHood emblem. I'm not sure why that's sitting there in the middle of nowhere, Jesse. But anyways, Here's that gaffer tape I was talking about. Now you can get this at Guitar Center. Probably the only place I can get it from. Can't really buy it from your hardware store, but I think they have Gorilla Tape, which is like fabric tape, just like this. It's just a lot stronger than duct tape, and it's not plastic. I'm not sure what duct tape is made out of, but this is really strong stuff, and it's real sticky. So yeah, I know that this isn't gonna fall apart. It's really hard to handle right now. Like, as soon as I touch foam with it, it sticks permanently. Now, I did have to cut it into smaller strips because I didn't want to waste the gaffer tape. Now, I thought the upper chest piece seemed a little plain. I decided to throw in some design. Nothing extra crazy, just, you know, some lines so that the eyes can follow, you know, just to make things a little more, I don't know, interesting up there, I guess. Who knows? Anyways, here are the back piece, plain and simple. I thought about throwing the redHood back piece on there, but I'm not quite sure where I'm gonna go with it just yet. I got my wood burner with the spatula tip on there. It makes it really easy to draw on these lines. Just kind of lay it on there sideways and move it. And while I still have it hot, I went ahead and burned these slots in there on the back piece of the armor, so I can stick these elastic on there and have some Velcro sewn onto them. And I like to use loop Velcro when I sew onto elastic because it's easier to sew the fabric stuff. But yeah, and I also use high temp hot glue to glue everything down. Especially with my straps, I use high temp hot glue. Holds a lot better than low temp. But I use low temp for, I don't know what I use low temp for. But there's a purpose for everything, I guess. Well, alright, we're just about done. Here's a look at how I have everything attached to each other. It's actually two piece. The back piece can come completely off, but you can make it one piece once the proper fitting has been determined. I wanted to see what Batgirl Beyond would look like. I'll save that one for another video because we're working on redHood woman, or women redHood. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below, do you want to see a Batgirl Beyond or my version of it? I don't even think there's an original version. I don't know. I think that would be really cool. Now it's time to make this redHood gender bin cosplay official by stamping it with the redHood emblem. Now, notice how I had to fold it in half so I can get it down into the center of the breast piece. Now I'm going to use a heat gun to form everything on there because there's more curvature than normal. I mean, yeah, duh. And I'm using 2mm craft foam because it makes it easier to form the emblem to the chest piece. Anything thicker would just warp the shape of the breast. Alright, now it's time to seal the foam. I'm using Plasti Dip. I'm going to use a couple coat of Plasti Dip. And if you notice, I've been using Plasti Dip a lot lately because, well, the weather's nice and Plasti Dip's just a lot easier to use. It is messy. It's not something you'd use inside the house. I know on colder weathers or hotter days, I usually like to stay indoors and seal it with Mod Podge, but with this black Plasti Dip, it makes a really good base coat for the gunmetal that I'm about to spray on here. I didn't really go heavy with the painting. I did do about 3 light coats, and it ended up looking like Surfer Girl. Yeah. Now I'm going to use a hairdryer to accelerate the drying process. Don't use a heat gun to do this. You will just burn everything that you just did, and that wouldn't be cool. Now I'm gonna apply a couple coat of red paint on the emblem because duh, redHood. Now before you start dissing this gunmetal paint job, let me explain. I'm going to throw in some shading, and this is really gonna change things up. Now I took some of that leftover silver paint and I threw in some black metallic just to darken it up a little bit, and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna spray all the lines, I guess, and then I'm gonna work my way out, and then the further I go out, the more the shading is going to spread, and it's just gonna give it a really nice contrast. I dig it. I don't know what y'all think. Y'all let me know in the comment section below because it's looking really sick, especially when the light hits it. I mean, come on, any guy would die to wear one of these. I mean, I would. Just don't let my wife know. I mean, she probably wouldn't like that. Now, if you're digging what I'm cooking and you like to get your hands on these templates, links will be in the description below. I'm going to have the templates for the arms and the legs separate because I plan on putting out several different designs. That way you guys can mix and match them. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you guys learned something. And if you guys like what I do here, make sure you hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would highly recommend you doing that because we do awesome, cool stuff here. And don't forget to follow me on all my social network. And I'll see you guys in the next one.